A newcomer's perspective to Diablo 4. Okay, let's take a look at it.
Wait, you're telling me I have to pay 10 quid for a season pass just after you made me pay 60 squid for this shit? Are you fucking kidding me? Diablo 4 is an ARPG, or
Well, I mean, you don't have to buy the battle pass, to be fair.
action roleplay game, made by Bing Chi-Ling Entertainment. The genius megaminds responsible for the creation of Overwatch porn and this balding Surat.
Okay,
Now, I'm very new
great.
to the ARPG thing. I usually play normal RPGs, and this is my first time experiencing a Diablo game.
Okay.
I saw that it had a character creation and buff mummy milkers and a sexy demon that would harvest my soul, and I was sold.
Yeah.
Seeing all these fanboys creaming their pants for the next Diablo,
Sure.
I thought I'd add my newcomer's perspective to the creamy mixture.
Okay.
Not that anybody asked for it. However, when I bought this, I didn't realize it had seasons. And now I've got to commit to it like I'm paying child support when I thought I was getting a one-time bit of fun. F me, I guess. This game has...
No, you don't have to do... What do you mean? No, because you can play on the standard realm and it's fine. They said that. Yeah, you don't have to play the seasons.
the weirdest beta system I've ever seen. The early access beta is available for 3 days from the 16th to the 19th, but the actual beta releases on the 24th up until the 26th. But the game's proper release date is on June 6th.
Okay.
F me, man, which is it? Stop toying with me and just pick a f***ing date. God knows
Is this complicated for anybody else? I feel like it's pretty simple.
what kind of microtransactions Blizzrape Entertainment is going to add to it.
I feel like this is the mind of somebody that's like, this is the kind of person that says that Diablo 4 is going to be pay to win. This is what happens whenever one of those people makes a video. Is that you can see how completely devoid of any sort of logic it is. So because there's two different beta events, you're now confused of when the game comes out? I don't know. I think it's pretty simple, right?
now that I've roped myself into this.
Okay.
I guess that'll teach me for not thinking with my smooth brain instead of thinking with my pee-pee. Now, my initial thoughts on the game itself are actually pretty good.
Okay,
the combat
great.
is more intuitive than I thought it would be.
Yeah, I think
From
so
an
too.
outsider's perspective, taking one look at this bukkake of numbers and sea of flashing lights and abilities...
This is some dumb ass shit. Oh my god. I remember this is like... Oh my god, yeah, bro, this guy is gaming, man. He's gaming.
Seemed like it would stun-lock your average epileptic in 1 second
Yeah,
flat.
it's like
but
that's
it's
what
actually
Belial
fun
is,
and
right?
not all that daunting once you
God, I
get
haven't
into
seen
it.
that in 10
Its
years.
resemblance almost to the Dragon Age combat was another huge draw for me.
Okay.
Because I'm a big fan of the Dragon Age franchise. Like others have already said, the voice acting is pretty decent. Definitely nothing to scoff at. But if I had to nitpick, the introduction to the story is a bit lackluster.
I like it. I actually like how the introduction is just like, yeah, so like, it starts off and you're on a horse. And then somebody kills the horse and like a demon dog rescues you. All right. Go ahead. Yeah, I like that a lot. I think it's great.
Isn't any build-up of your character's backstory
Exactly.
or explaining the lore and setting of the world to new players like me.
That's
For some,
right.
this is probably a positive rather than a
for me it
negative.
is.
But if you ask me, I'd like to be wined and dined before the game makes sweet, sweet love to my ass. I went for the Sorcerer class because
Smart.
I'm down bad for Morrigan from Dragon Age, and I'm happy to say I don't regret it. The spell casting is very visceral. It feels great, especially later on.
Sorcerer was the best class on the beta. In my opinion, it was by far. And I'm not talking about what the numbers are with their spells. I'm talking about the game plays better for Sorcerer than anything else.
The game when you've unlocked more powerful incantations. It does a good job at making you feel like an ice-cold badass, ragdolling
Yeah, it's
silly
great.
little demons and skeletons that get in your way. Especially that chain lightning. Oh my god.
It's so
the
good.
graphics and
It's
the
got nerfed.
cutscenes are on point. At times it's even breathtaking.
You're breathtaking.
at least for an ARPG. I wouldn't say it's groundbreaking, but it's definitely pleasant to look at, especially the interiors from the top view camera, those landscape views. Obviously, there are bound to be some technical issues and lag. Oh my god, the lag.
I mean, it's a beta, right? I mean, of course. And like, it's the beginning of the game. Like, this shit's just gonna happen.
At one point, I got a blue screen, first one I've ever had in my life, which was pretty tense, knowing that the game has already bricked people's graphics cards. I almost shit a brick when it happened. The last thing I need right now is my very expensive GPU to become the finest paperweight child labor can produce. Hopefully,
I don't know if that was the fault of Diablo 4 or not. I don't remember.
This doesn't happen
But
again,
it was
otherwise
3080s.
I'd have to visit penisrocket.com for a replacement. Queue times weren't half bad, not like the ball ache others have experienced, probably because I'm on peasant European servers, so not as much traffic. Might be the only upside to living in the UK, that and drinkable tap water, I guess. I've leveled my character up to 20 now. I've done all the main missions the beta allows you to do, and a decent number of side missions and dungeons. In my opinion, the gameplay loop is starting to get repetitive already. The arduous treks between dungeon room to dungeon room, killing the same minions along the way is a slog. The bosses are decent, and I'm hoping...
I think that's fair to say that, but like, it's fair contextualized around it being the beta. Of course people are going to think it's boring because you're just doing one zone over and over. Sure, that makes sense.
They get more interesting when the full game finally releases, but honestly, I'm not quite sure yet if this grind fest is for me. Some huge...
Well, the thing is that with ARPGs, this is the same with PoE, it's the same thing with Diablo 3. I don't know what it was like with Diablo 2, only played a little bit of it. I'll play it again at some point. That's what the game is, right? I mean, you grind a lot. I mean, if you don't want to grind in an ARPG, then I don't really know what you're expecting. Like, that's just the way the game is, right? The gameplay loop is fundamentally, you go in, you do a dungeon, you kill a boss, you get randomized gear. Now, they could make an ARPG with no grinding and completely reinvent the wheel. And if they want to do that, go for it. Cool. But personally, I think it's fine. Yeah, I don't mind where it's at now. It's like buying FIFA if football isn't for you. Yeah. I don't think that people should like be too attached to like different ideas in games like that. So like for example, the idea that MMOs you have to play with other people, maybe grinding in ARPGs is kind of like that. But overall, as an ARPG player, I don't mind grinding. But I think that there's a degree of it that's too much. Sure.
Areas on the map you would think would have teleport lodestones to ease the walking back and forth don't for some reason. Meaning I've got to hike through this fucking blizzard that I've already been through twice just to waste time talking with an NPC telling me I did a good job.
And I think that you'll have mounts too, which will make it easier.
Doesn't help that the side quests are dotted randomly everywhere, and most of them essentially amount to doing nothing but menial chores. Honestly, there's more padding in this game than a C-Cup convention. Please, let me know in the comments, long-term Diablo fans. Is this par for the course for Diablo? The kind of game you guys were expecting? Going in blind into a franchise and game genre I know nothing about, I guess I expected something a little different. Maybe it's too early into the game to tell.
I wonder what he wanted. Because to me, I felt like Diablo 4 is exactly what I wanted. Like, for what the beta was, I got exactly what I wanted.
I kind of expected a bit more RPG in an ARPG. I would have liked at least an option to either side with the church or side with Lilith to keep things a little...
They might have that later on. We don't really know.
Fresh and allow for better replayability. Call me crazy, but a character class like the Necromancer that summons spooky scary skeletons don't seem like the type to be aligning with the light and the clergy of the edgelord worshippers. I understand that the custom character cutscenes are a new addition.
Well, I mean, if you look at the lore, Rathma, who was the first Necromancer, was the son of Inarius and Lilith. So logically, it would make sense that some Necromancers would side with the light because their father is an angel. So, like, technically, that's not really true, but yeah, sure.
to the franchise, meaning Blizzard wanted to introduce a more customized experience for players, which is great, but why not go the extra mile and give us at least a couple story pathways too? I get that traditionally it's a game solely focused on the combat, but why not a bit of both? Why add cutscenes and a story if it's just throwaway? As for the dialogue, it would make...
I don't think it's a throwaway story. I think the story was good. Yeah, it was fine. I mean, it's the thing is that, like, you compare that to a game like Dragon Age. I don't really know about what Dragon Age is, but Dragon Age is probably a game that is mainly a single-player story-based game. Whereas, like, for Diablo 4, it's mainly a end-game grinding simulator where it's character building. The story isn't the main point of the game, but the story, I think, is fine.
The constant standing around listening to characters waffle on a lot more bearable if the character had any input in the conversation aside from asking more questions. You know, I'm starting to feel like I'm not the target audience for this game.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's okay, right? I mean, like, Witcher 3 is a great game. I didn't play the other 3 there. I don't even know what the bottom right one is. But yeah, I mean, sure, it's a different kind of game. It's the same as, like, somebody who likes, like, Doom. Like, for example, Doom is, like, a single-player game, like, it's Fallout 4, right? Yeah, Fallout 4. Like, there are a lot of different types of FPS games. You don't go into Fortnite and expect it to be the same as something like Remnant. They're just different games.
Game. Pros complaining about balance issues and mechanics when I'm over here complaining about story. Hey, maybe it's my fault. Maybe I should have done more research before buying this. Aside from the barbarian demon titties, I might then have considered avoiding Grind Diablo 4. Welcome to hell. All jokes aside, it's an okay game. Any game that adds transmog and color wheels and a controller support is good in my book.
I think this is the kind of guy that rates each game based off of how many characters are Coomer characters and how many are not. Like, and like, so obviously he gave Diablo 4 a chance for, you know, pretty much obvious reasons here. And, you know, he just decides if he's going to stay or not. The average gamer, yeah, clearly. I think that just, you know, after the game comes out, you'll get a better idea of what the story's like. The truth is, like, the story content in the beta, and in Diablo 3, it's a pulp fiction fantasy story. It's the same as the Diablo 3 story. I love the Diablo 3 story. It was simple, it was clean, and at the end of it, you killed Diablo. Yeah, fuck him. That's what he gets. And that's okay. It doesn't have to be like Game of Thrones. It doesn't have to be some super overly complex thing. I think it was fine. So yeah, I don't find a problem with it at all. I don't think it was a good review, in my opinion. It sounds only excited about titties and nothing else. Well, there are a lot of people that feel that way. If there wasn't, then Nike, goddess of fucking destiny or adventure or whatever the fuck it is, wouldn't be such a popular game.